Yep. Ding, ding, let's go. So, there is, as far as white people go, there's the category of white trash. And then it made me think, well, yeah, there's white trash, but that doesn't necessarily have to mean that you're like, low status or like low socioeconomic, on the lower on the totem pole, because I haven't come up with a good name for it, but there's a category that is white trash adjacent that is essentially, I feel, it could be worse than being just like, poor, uneducated, just not having a good upbringing, so you're just not a good human being and things like that. Well, and, I'm saying mainly white people, but it's really anybody. Anybody who has made their very heady, mind-based job become their personality. And that's, for the most part, in tech. So, I've noticed in, even family and friends, people close to me, let alone, all the people who they're friends with, the mutuals and whatnot, where it's like, you can pretty much tell if they're in tech or they're doing a very computer-heavy job. We won't talk about just the, the physical, the biological effects of being in front of a screen for hours on end. We don't even have to get there. We're just talking about arguably something deeper, which is the effect that long-term exposure to non-human agendas, non-human protocol, what that does to our heart and soul, what it does to our humanity, our humanness. It's like, on the surface level, the person is very heady, very mindy, is just boring. But on a deeper level, this heavy mind personality, beingness, it essentially usurps, it essentially supersedes the heart, the body, maybe even the emotions too, but like, we're talking being like rooted and grounded in the core of I. It's a shame. It's a real shame to see, because in my view, and the views of people who are very embodied, spiritual or not, you can be embodied as a total meathead, just working out all the time, but you feel alive, you feel real, you feel true. That's the type of embodied that I'm talking about. And at least in my experience and the experience of others, where you add spirituality into the mix of your whatever, your daily, weekly exercise, workouts, just body encompassments, you add spirituality into the mix, and you can get to a point where you have this sense of knowing that whatever happens, you've got it, the universe has your back, you're living your life, and life is living its life. You're living life, life is living you. It's a great team, and you just feel it. You feel it in your core, you feel it in your bones. You feel it, you feel it, you feel it. I am alive. Life is alive. Life has given birth to me. I give birth to even more gifts. Gifts of creativity, of perception being gifted outwardly, right? Like what I'm doing with this content, and what people are doing in general creatively, just making products, physical, tangible or intangible, just like putting themselves out there, just like giving it from the heart and soul, giving it. It makes me feel more alive, more inspired, just thinking about those types of people. It's awesome. So, back to the topic at hand. We really need to watch out, depending on where you are in this equation. If you're that person that's really like getting more and more in their mind over the years, whether or not it's from your job, but I will say straight up, if you've got a tech job, a computer heavy job, you gotta watch yourself. You have to, if you're gonna stay in that type of job, you gotta balance the scales. You gotta, before work, after work, over the weekend, you gotta get embodied. You gotta get messy, you gotta get wild, you gotta get primal, you gotta get real and true. You gotta get human. No ifs, ands, or buts. If you really actually want to live your fullest and best life, there's no other way. You gotta get embodied. You gotta become who you are. The mind is roughly 25% of who you truly are. Get the body involved. Get the heart and soul involved. Get something that's wholesomely passionate within you. Bring it out. Bring it forth. You don't have to become a content creator, a business owner. It could be a hobby. But to be embodied, to be strong, stoic, statured. What's the word I'm thinking of? To have a very thick, prevalent, and girthy trunk, to use the tree analogy, symbolism. Like, roots, deep, trunk, thick, fruits, nourishing, straight up. You gotta get embodied. You gotta get in touch with this heart and soul. There's no other way. You can't get to the soul through the mind. It just doesn't work that way. You can have a better understanding of the mind when you're more in touch with the soul. So it's like the mind goes on regardless. But to approach yourself from the heart and soul level through just internal observation. Perhaps take notes in a journal, or meditation, contemplation, reflecting in general. Stimulus minimum, just being with yourself. Is it worth it to you? That's really up to you. Embodiment at the heart and soul level and everything beyond. You want that? That's really up to you. It made me think of this thought that came up when I was watching this other YouTuber. Shout out to Elijah Long. But because he's just a true blue man, just straight up. And and then in reflecting, doing my self-reflecting, I'm like, am I really a man? Am I? And then I'm like, man is a state of mind. Like, I don't need to be bench pressing 250 to know that I'm a fucking man. Like, straight up. Like, to have this testosterone mind, I'll probably come up with a better term later, is just being more and more ready and up and willing and able to just go forth in life. Challenges, inevitable. Tough times, inevitable. Troughs before the peaks in the waveform of life, inevitable. Downtime, feeling down, depression, temporary, inevitable. Roll with the punches. So, that's that. But, okay, so, if you're doing a computer-heavy job, watch out for that. Get it in that balance. If you're not in a tech job, you're doing another type of job, cool. Our sort of initiation or continuation of vigilance is essentially watch out for these types of people. Because honestly, like, the more you get in your head, the more you get sort of caught up in your own nonsense. When you see people, externally, where it's not you, well, all of us to an extent, so we need to watch out for it. But just like, especially people, in your group, in your circle, whatever, your employees, whatever, and you, but just people in general. It's kind of a sort of issue of trust. If someone's really caught up in their own mind, they're further and further from true, visceral reality. If they're conjuring stuff up, and, if you can relate, take this to heart too, where it's like, if you're conjuring stuff up, and you're not talking stuff out, if you're not processing things with other people, like, therapy is what it is, whether it be a professional psychologist, psychiatrist, or just, your boys, your friends, like, whatever. I wouldn't necessarily recommend, like, family, like brothers and sisters, parents and stuff like that. You need a different perspective. Friends, coworkers, etc. Get what you can get. Talk things out. Talking things out gets us more and more rooted and grounded in reality. Like, we need a solid circle. Like, I might just dedicate this channel to men specifically, because as a man, I have more to relate to, obviously. So, the fact that men, especially, just like, benefit deeply, viscerally, from having a brotherhood of just like shooting the shit, just like, and that's how we do our therapy, where it's just like goofing off, just like making jokes, like, making pings and jabs at each other, but it's just like to shake off the headiness of the kind of the mad scientist mind. Just get it out of here. We need more heart and soul and visceral and bodily embodied true humans. That's what we need. So if you're that type of person that is getting caught up in your own head, so one of the main points of this is we gotta watch out, because calculate it. If you've been doing a computer-heavy job for years, or if you know somebody who's been doing a computer-heavy job for years, like, how many hours is that? Like, I've done the math for the hours that I do in my job, and I love my type of job, where it's face-to-face, a bunch of people, socializing, the young people, more in touch with their soul, so they're teaching me as I'm teaching them. It's beautiful, it's amazing, it's human, it's real, it's awesome. But think of, all right, so in terms of me doing the math, I, at this point, probably have done more than 12,800 hours of working in schools, of working with young people, young soul-based humans. So I have gotten all of this experience, all of this wisdom in that category. If you've been working a job 10 plus years, we're talking 11,000, 12,000 plus hours. So, and let's just say 10,000 hours, plus or minus. If you've been doing 10,000 hours, and we're just talking about work, not even at home, right? If we're talking 10,000, 12,000 plus hours in your life so far, and I'm being really kind of like conservative with this estimate, right? Because we're not even talking screen time at home. 12,000 plus hours. Wow. You know, you've become a master craftsman of sitting in front of a computer. You've become a massive craftsman in calculating things, in organizing things, in, Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, or whatever other program you're using. Wow, master craftsman in data. Right? So, if you're in that world, watch yourself. It's less and less humanizing over the years, whether or not you realize it, whether or not you want to admit it. What's human? It's going to an open field, throwing a ball around. Is it tag? Is it two-hand touch? Is it tackle? Doesn't matter. Going to an open field, or the beach, or the woods, and goofing off. Like, plain and simple. If you feel like you're losing your humanity, there are outlets. There are, as I beat the chest, there are inlets, right? We can become more human in this sense just by sitting down, eyes closed, and doing these types of internal things. Search up shadow work if you don't know what that is. It's a very masculine thing to do, and it's a very internal thing to do. So, shadow work, meditation, contemplation, journaling, general reflecting, right? Even as you're going on in life, where it's like, oh, I've reacted that way. Huh, I've thought that way. Huh, do I like that? Do I want that? Can I change that? Yeah. If you want your life to change, if you want to be more human, we gotta consider these things. Our thousands of hours spent, are they spent in the human earth world, or are they spent in front of a machine? And in modern world, we're doing a lot of both. Yet, are we balanced? Bada bing, bada boom. I'll leave it at that. Much respect. Respect to you, to us, to this world, to us surviving, to us being more and more up for the challenges, inevitable challenges of life. And they can be temporary too, where it's like, challenge, oh no, face it, do it, then reflect on it, and realize that you've become better as a result of bearing, surviving the challenge. Awesome. You've become more awesome to the extent that you're taking these challenges in stride. Awesome. Awesome. Much respect to the cosmos, the sun. Shout out to the sun, our atmosphere, our earth, for keeping us alive. Honestly. Like, shout out. Like, look, you could be oofed right now. You could be unalived right now, but you're not. Another quote. I think it's from Albert Camus, where it's like, don't off yourself. Just have another coffee, right? Or just have another rest, or another whatever. Like, even if it's a vice, just like, Look, just let things be, and then take on the challenge when you feel like it's the right time. Boom, boom, boom. Respect to you, to us, to the challenges that make us stronger, to Earth, the sun, the cosmos, for keeping us alive. Much respect. This is Mr. Mike. Catch you later.